What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Fantasy on Tap podcast. I'm your host, Eric Sonnier, with my boy Blake over here. What's happening, boy?
How you doing, bro? Feeling good.
I'm feeling good, dude. All right, dude. So let's just get started. Fantasy on Tap podcast. Follow these guys, man. They got the best advice in the game. Become an all access member of the Fantasy Six Pack on YouTube to get access to our award-winning rankings, draft cheat sheets, DFS projection, betting tools, and other great content. Best of all, you get access to us directly on our Discord. We can get custom advice for your leagues. Go to fantasysixpack.net/plans to sign up today. All right, man, let's get into it.
I'm gonna be writing an article on the Saints actually coming up. I think around beginning of June, and it'll be on that website if y'all want to check that out. Okay.
There you go. So yeah, you absolutely everybody knows we're Saints fans. So we try to be unbiased, but we're gonna rep that black and gold well. Actually, let's go ahead and get started with some Saints right now, dude. I mean, they're in the OTAs right now. I think today was the second day. I've been hearing some good stuff, dude. I mean, the Saints look like they're gonna be something good. They do this every year to us. I don't know. I don't know.
Derek Carr MVP.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. I don't know if it's because like the Saints if he's wearing that black and gold or what, but I think he looks pretty good in those pictures. I mean, I think I was reading something yesterday. He went 8 for 8 in live drills. He was forming a little connection with Olave. I do this to myself every year though. I mean, they're always just like last year they were like Jameis Winston on fire, and then trash. So
I mean, if the dude doesn't break his back though, like is he at least decent? Like I mean, he's got to have been better than Andy Dalton, right?
I mean, got to. I mean, I went to the Falcons game, first game of the season last year, and for the first 3 quarters, he was pretty bad. I mean, the offense was non-existent. I mean,
our O-line looked really bad, though. Like, I can't. And that was the one thing I've said about Winston this whole time. Like, if he gets pressure in his face, he's just trapped. So
yeah. But I was reading Michael Thomas got some foot stuff removed. Some of the metal that was on his foot. So, I mean, he's got to be healed by this point, right? I mean, whenever he comes back for training camp, I think he's got to be 100%, right? For the first time in like 3 years. I mean, he's got to be ready.
I'll tell you what. I was looking at his just at his stats and stuff, and they said he was 30 years old, and I was like, he's 30? Like, I can't believe he's already 30. Like, it just seems like we just drafted him like a few years ago. Like,
it's because, I mean,
he's older than Kamara. Like,
realistically, he hadn't played in 3 years. So, I mean, it's like last time he played, he was 26, 27 years old. He's like, that's not bad.
But didn't we draft Kamara before him?
No, he was our second round pick in 2017 or 2015.
Kamara was 17.
Okay, yeah. So 2016 we drafted Michael Thomas in the second round, and then the next year we drafted Kamara in the third round.
Okay.
Yeah, there were different classes.
Okay, Michael Thomas makes sense, I guess. Because I'm like, how is he older than Kamara? Like, it just like you're saying, he hasn't played in so long. I forget even like how long we've had him. What's he been doing? Like, what does he look like? I don't even know.
I mean, against the Falcons last year, he had 2 touchdowns to help us win. I mean, and then he came back the next game, had a touchdown, some 60 yards, and then he just gets hurt. I mean, it's just the same old story. But I mean, at least he played a couple games. It shows that he's still, that dude when he plays. But
yeah, I'm targeting him in late draft for sure. Like I'm seeing him on average draft position, like low, like 13th round or something. I'm like, I'll take that. Like,
I mean, for that round, I mean, you could get a potential top 10 wide receiver pretty late if it works out for him. Because I mean, like I said, Derek Carr isn't a bad quarterback. He's just had bad situations. I mean, 6 coaches with the Raiders. I mean, never had a defense ranked over like 23 or something. I was looking at. He has the most fourth quarter comebacks in the league right now, and that's because he's always playing down. I mean, it's a story the Saints have always had with Drew Brees, but I mean, now we have a good defense. I mean, the sky's the limit. I feel like. Especially with that easy-looking schedule we have, I don't see how we don't win at least 10 games. I mean,
Dude, I mean, the schedule is what's got me more hyped than anything because it's like, come on, like, are you telling me, like, based on what I'm seeing, like, we should go 6-1 or 7-0 in the last 7 games. Like,
I mean, we have the ranked easiest schedule in the league right now. We have what the Eagles had last year. Can we take advantage like they did? I mean,
and we usually have one of the harder schedules every year. Like, remember the years we had Drew Brees? It was like, top 3 hard
every year.
It's just like, damn.
Every year we were going through the gauntlet. I mean, Goodell finally was like, all right, we don't have Sean Payton. He's like, all right, let's just give these dudes a break. You know what I mean? Finally, he hated Sean Payton. That's what I'm coming to the conclusion to. He in that no call game, he called that ref and he was like, on the phone with him as the play happened. He was like, "You better not throw that flag. You better not." You know what I mean? It was in his earpiece. So,
I mean, I've seen that thing from every angle, dude. Like the NFL Films angle and everything. The ref grabs the flag like he's gonna throw it, and then the other ref is like waving him off like this, and so he doesn't throw it. And it's just
Goodell
like,
had that dude on speed dial. He as soon as he saw the play, he was like, "Don't do it."
Dude, it doesn't make any sense. It was helmet to helmet, pass interference, and unnecessary roughness. Like, there's 3 penalties you could have called. You didn't call one of them. Like,
I think you're the one that brought this to my attention, but like I'm pretty sure it's true. If Tommy Lee Lewis plays hurt, that's a flag. He's gonna play. This dude pops up like it's like a normal hit. It's like, bro, stay on the ground, make it worse something. You know what I mean? He just roped you. I mean,
I've reviewed that a lot, that play a lot, and I definitely did tell you that because it happened to us a few weeks earlier in that season where like Kyle Juszczyk for the 49ers, he got hit, and it wasn't even a bad hit, but he went like this on the ground, and they threw the flag in late. And I'm just like, Tommy Lee Lewis, dude, if you act like you're dead if you just face plant like just dead on the field, we're getting the flag.
He should have never got up. He just popped up like it was like
he
it was
should
a pop
still
cart.
be on the ground.
Lay down. Yeah, like don't get up. Like make it happen. I mean, Tom Brady did that all the time. He'd get hurt, he would get hit, he would watch the play, and then he would be like, and then look at the refs like holding his head. He's like, dude, I'm hurt, and he's like, oh, well, there's the flag just because he's hurt.
Yeah,
but yeah, dude,
man.
It's such a bummer. But yeah, I mean, besides like a few like our key starters, like I mean, I don't think DeMario Davis was there, Cam Jordan. I don't think any of those guys were there in OTAs. But other than that, it's all been good reports. So Shaheed and Olave are getting that connection with Carr. So let's hope that happens, man. I mean, I'm ready for these past couple of years to just be in the rearview mirror.
I tell you what, too, I watched an interview with Carr, I think this morning, and he was saying about how much he liked living in New Orleans and how friendly everyone was. And I think that's something that people take for granted. Drew Brees definitely figured it out after a while too, that like the good people that are in New Orleans are, I mean, great people. They're going to ask you about your family. They're going to chat you up. And it's never going to be like that chatting where you're like, all right, like, you know, it's like, it's engaging. Like I'm in the city all the time talking to people that live there. And it's like, if I wanted to stop and talk for 20 minutes, I could talk to every person like that. So there's good people out here. And I think that was boosting his ego a bit to be like, I came here to win, but like now I'm seeing that this is like a family friendly city and like a good place to raise a family. So I think that having that good morale in your life can help you play better, you know?
Yeah, I mean,
you're living in Las Vegas and you're like, you're thinking about going to the strip club every weekend, you know, you might not, who knows, you know?
Right. Yeah, I think Zion said that Drew Brees told him that it was just like, if you embrace the city and you play well, I mean, they're going to love you. I mean, and he's definitely has the potential to be good. I think Carr is very talented. It's just I think he's a head case from what I was reading. That he's just kind of.
I think he said that too. He said, "If this city loves you, they'll love you back." And he was like, "But I haven't thrown an incompletion yet." And I was like, "You better not throw one." Like that's what I was thinking while I was watching the video. No incompletions for the whole year. So.
But the same goes out for the other side of the coin. If you're playing bad, we're gonna let you know. The stadium will erupt if you aren't playing well. So. That loud stadium is definitely a factor. But other than that, do you got anything else on the Saints?
I mean, I've been checking every day, and like we know, Kamara's court date is in July. I mean, dude. And it's not like the league is not going to suspend him until something happens with the court. So if that gets pushed back again, Kamara not suspended.
Is it possible that gets picked back again? I don't think it is. I think that's like the firm date that he has to show up to this one. I'm pretty sure.
Well, I mean, anything could happen with court dates, you know. I mean, but yeah, you are right. It is like scheduled and confirmed and everything. But yeah,
why is it in July? Like, why are we waiting a month and a half before the season starts or a month before the season starts? Like, dude. Figure it out now, and let's figure it out.
I'm sure Goodell called, and he was like, "Hey, blah, 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 blah."
Let's push this the furthest possible. So when I suspend him, it's like, oh, well, it's not my fault. I didn't hit anybody.
Yeah.
But all right.
I mean, look, Kamara, real quick. Kamara's falling down draft boards. We're in a mock right now, and he still hasn't been picked in like the 7th round.
Dude,
if you ask me, I don't understand people because guess what? The beginning of the season, you don't win the league in the beginning of the season.
Right.
You win at the end. So if you want Kamara playing, if he gets 6 games of rest, he's going to be awesome for the last 15 games of the playoffs of the year, including playoffs, you know? So it's like.
They're saying last year was his down year, and he was still running back 16s. I mean, it's not like if that's a down year and then with a new quarterback and a new offense, I mean.
And we got Jamal Williams going to take the load off of him when it comes to like running between the tackles.
And iron sharpens iron. This dude Kendra Miller is called him out like for the third time now. He's like, dude, I can do what Kamara does. He said it when he first got drafted. He was like, dude, I didn't come here to sit the bench. I came here to start. So like, that's got to light a fire in your ass. Like, if the rookie's coming in telling you that he's going to take your spot, you got to go for it.
Mm-hmm. I like it.
But all right, that's enough for the Saints. Like I said, we could talk about a whole podcast with the Saints.
Good.
We're gonna jump into.
Right there.
I know that's what I'm talking about. We're gonna jump into some actual fantasy stuff now. We're gonna be talking about some quarterbacks. We're gonna be talking about some tight ends. We're gonna be talking about our favorites. We got a top 15 of both positions for me and Blake. We're gonna go through these. We'll let you know what we think. This is kind of like us giving us a rankings of what we think these players are going to do. We didn't really even take a schedule into account, which is something that we probably should have done. But these are just the people that it's just top 15 is just obvious. I mean, after like the first half of your top 15, it goes. That's really when you start needing to get into the schedule because those top like 5 or 6 guys are going to be those top 5 or 6 guys no matter who they play. So
right. I mean, there's some guys who are schedule proof, right? Mahomes, Kelsey, guys like that. That doesn't matter who they're playing. Like they're going to score you great points.
Right.
Right.
So, we can just get into it. I'm going to give you guys my top 5, and then, I'll let Blake do his top 5. We'll go through it like that, give you some explanation. If you guys ever have any questions, just like if you hear something that, you want to, us to elaborate on, just write us a question in the comments. We will get back to you on the next episode. But yeah, let's jump into it. I think both of our top 5s are the same 5 guys. So, I mean, we can really just get this out the way now. Yeah, I think that in a different order. Maybe I can share this.
So you have Hurts 1 and I have Hurts 2.
Yeah. So let's just do that. So top 5 QBs for both of us. It's just going to be a combo of Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, Jalen Hurts, and Lamar Jackson. We both got them in different angles of the order. So we can go ahead and just knock that out real quick. I think Jalen Hurts is my number 1. He's progressed every year since he's been in the league. I mean, his first year he didn't really play until like the end of the season, but last year he went to the Super Bowl. I mean, he was the number 3 fantasy quarterback. I want to say. I'm pretty sure. I think that's what you wrote. He was the number 3 guy last year. He's only getting better as a passer, and he's a dynamic runner. I think he has the potential to be the number 1 quarterback this year. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen are going to be on his heels. Joe Burrow, they're going to be on his heels with the receiving. But I think what puts Jalen Hurts ahead is he's going to throw for those yards, and now he's also going to run for them too. So I think that's why he's going to be my number 1.
I completely agree. That's kind of why I had him. I really was going to have Burrow too, just because I love Burrow. But with Hurts having the rushing floor, I mean, it's basically like starting another running back in your quarterback slot with your quarterback. He's going to get you like 70 yards rushing a game and maybe a touchdown. I mean, that's like kind of what you want your RB2 to get you. So you're starting an RB2 with your quarterback at the same time. I mean, it really lends to that he should be number 1, really. You can't beat Mahomes, So that's kind of why I had Mahomes last year. I mean, I think I got him like the 6th round in my league, and it was I think I won like my first 6 weeks based purely off of like if I would have had any other quarterback, I would have lost. Right. Because he got me 40 or 28 or 39. Right when I needed 37, he got me 43. So for me, it's Mahomes just because I think you can count on he's gonna be throwing the ball, and in a 6-point passing touchdown league, like he's gonna throw touchdowns. So they were getting down to the 1 last year, and instead of running the ball because they didn't know what was up their running backs, they were throwing the ball. And so it's like,
Yeah, I mean, it never hurts your team to have Patrick Mahomes on it. I mean, I've never seen a dude be mad that he drafted Patrick Mahomes, no matter where it was. Just go ahead and give me the rest of your top 5 in the order you got them in.
Okay, so Mahomes, Hurts, Burrow, Allen, and Jackson. For me, I mean, it was tough even moving Allen down. I just think Burrow, I had Burrow at 3. Burrow was 4 last year. I feel like his team's only going to get better. He's only getting better. And with Allen, his team, other than Adam Kincaid, I mean, they didn't add any like crazy dynamic wide receivers, running backs, offensive linemen, So for me, and plus he was really playing erratic last year. I mean, he was throwing, when they lost that Jets game, it was like purely off of him trying to play hero ball, I don't think Burrow plays hero ball. He plays to win. And, I got Jamar Chase in a lot of leagues too, so it's like I need Burrow to be high up on there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
So
okay. So
yeah,
then you got
1 through 5.
who you got next? Lamar Jackson.
Jackson 5. Yep. For me, it was just about adding Flowers, dude. I mean, I really think Flowers is going to take the passing game to another level. He's going to have healthy running backs. The O-line's looking good. He's still going to run the ball no matter what he did to his ankle or his knee. So he's got the same running floor that you would say with Fields or Hurts. So that's kind of why I got Jackson in there.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. So I'm gonna round up my top 5. I got Josh Allen at 2, Patrick Mahomes 3, Joe Burrow 4, and Lamar Jackson 5. So just kind of like the same reasons. I mean, Josh Allen, I feel he's got a chip on his shoulder now, dude. I mean, he's getting that hype where the Joe Burrow is better than him. He's beat him in the playoff game now. Josh Allen is good. He just seems like he can't get over that hump. So I feel like that goes into a lot of how people play during the years, how they feel. That's why I have Lamar Jackson in my top 5. I think Lamar Jackson's going to come out, and show why he earned that money. You know what I mean? Show why he needs that money. I mean, I was reading something today that said that the new offense they're in is he's going to be able to pass more instead of running. So I feel like he'll stay healthy. They got Mark Andrews, like you said, Zay Flowers. Yeah, I think he's got a potential to be nice, and I think obviously I don't even need to talk about Patrick Mahomes. I mean, he's Patrick Mahomes. He's gonna throw 3 or 4 touchdowns a game. And my boy Joe. I mean, Joe Burrow, dude. He's gotten better every year as well. He's got the weapons. Hopefully he's getting the O-line right. I mean, I think they drafted a couple guys. They signed Orlando Brown, I want to say. So I mean, I think he's gonna actually have a chance to stand in the pocket and hit these guys nicely. I mean, they didn't really sign any running backs besides Joe Mixon, so. He's gonna have to go downfield for it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm right there with you. I agree. This is when it starts. On these next 5 is when it really starts to bounce around.
Yeah, I think we both have different 6 through 10s completely. Well, we got a couple guys that match, but other than that,
I mean, I got Watson in my top 10, so I think you had him like 15th or something.
Yeah. So I got Justin Fields coming up next. Just strictly off his run, and if he can take a step up in the passing game, I mean, he's going to be. I think he was quarterback 3 last year. I'm pretty sure. So I mean, I think that'll digress a little bit, but I think as long as he can take a step up in the passing game, I think he will be pretty nice. So I mean, number 6 in the fantasy department of any position is not too bad. I got Justin Herbert next. That's easy. He's always been consistent. He's a gunslinger. He's got a new weapon too in Quentin Johnson. He's got 3 nice receivers. He's got Eckler back, so he's going to be pretty good. Then I got A-Rod, dude. A-Rod with the Jets. I mean, they got just limitless weapons over there, dude. I mean, they got Alan Lazard. They got Garrett Wilson. They got what's his name, Breece Hall. They just got everybody that Aaron Rodgers wanted, plus who was good last year. I mean,
I didn't see that. You had Rodgers in your top 10?
Yeah, well, you remember I typed in my top 10 and forgot Aaron Rodgers, so I went up there. And
so you slotted him in there. Okay.
Yeah, I was like, dude, I can't leave my boy out. You know, it's my boy. Next, I got Derek Carr. Like we talked about earlier, I might be a little of a homer pick, but I don't really care. This is my top 10, so all y'all can start it.
And we're talking fantasy too, so
yeah, we're talking fantasy. We're not talking about
looking at the Saints offense. A quarterback should be able to slot in. I mean, if we let's look up Dalton last year.
Chris Olave, you got Michael Thomas, you got Alvin Kamara whenever he's healthy. You got Kendra Miller, who said he's about the ball. Foster Moreau, who's used to. I think we're going to trade for Hunter Renfrow. That could happen still. So yeah, I think Derek Carr has a really good potential to be nice. I mean,
Andy Dalton didn't play the first 3 games last year, and he was QB 22.
Right.
So you just got Derek Carr playing the whole year and not being Andy Dalton. That should be top 15, I would say.
Yeah, for sure. And then I round up my top 10 with Trevor Lawrence. I could see him being higher. I think he's also taken a nice step up. He's pretty good. Obviously he was a generational talent in college. Everybody wanted him. He won a national championship. He's a good player. He's been better every year, I think. And now he's got Calvin Ridley too, so I think he's going to take a step up too.
Not having Urban Meyer as your coach really helps apparently too, because he looked way better this year. So good for him. Way better. I might pick him in this mock coming up soon. Honestly, I'm looking at quarterbacks. Let's talk about it here. So I think I have a similar. You had Fields Herbert. I have Herbert Fields.
Yeah.
I have Lawrence, so I have Rodgers a little lower on the list. I had Lawrence coming in, kind of like we said. He's got another year in this offense that he ran pretty well last year, and then he's getting Calvin Ridley, who we like.
Calvin Ridley. Who wouldn't like him?
Which should boost your play. And then for me, my next one, which is I guess surprising because you had him at 15, I got Deshaun Watson. So I had Deshaun Watson like his first 3 or 4 years in the league, and I mean, we're talking about running floor. The dude would get 40 yards rushing, sometimes a rushing touchdown. He would throw the crap out of the ball, and that was with the Texans, who I mean they had Hopkins and Andre Johnson for a little while, but other than that, there wasn't really anybody else on the team that said he was still having those good passing numbers. So I'm thinking playing the whole year, not starting in week 10, he's finally back used to playing. I think Watson could have a top 10 quarterback year in fantasy for sure. Plus, they traded for that Jets wide receiver.
Elijah Moore,
yep. And then they already have Peoples-Jones and Amari Cooper. And Njoku looked a lot better last year. So I think they've got a nice squad. They got Nick Chubb running the ball. They're supposed to have, I think I saw an offensive line ranking the other day. They have like the 3rd best offensive line ranked like PFF or something, So putting all that together, the guy, I mean, he was never hurt. He hasn't been hurt recently. He just was suspended or like out of the league or whatever, So like, I don't see a lot. I'm seeing him way low on boards. Like I'm talking like the 25th ADP quarterback.
I don't think he looked great when he came back last year, but like you said, he was out for 11 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I think it takes time to jump back into the speed of the game. Like the NFL is a serious place, so that's why I had Watson in there. I got Prescott rounding out my top 10. That's more of we and you were talking about it off camera before we started. I really have Geno Smith at 11. I think I would probably swap those guys just because I think Geno Smith, the Seahawks have gotten better. Like he's gotten Jigba now. They got another running back. Their offensive line got upgraded. Their defense is even upgraded. So it's like, as much as they like to run the ball, he was the number 5 overall quarterback last year. So I'm thinking having him drop into 11 is really him downgrading, but it's still a top 15 quarterback. So that's why for me, and with Prescott, it's like, I mean, when he came back from that ankle injury, he seemed like hesitant. He seemed like he was hesitating on his throws a lot, and his decisiveness is kind of what made him a great quarterback, I feel like. Because, I mean, it's not like he was a high draft pick or anything. He just took Romo's spot when he got hurt, right? But he just came in, and he didn't have any fear, and he played like it. And now he seems kind of like, I'm not going to say he's playing scared, but he's playing hesitant, which I think is kind of hurting him. So if I could redo my list, I would move Prescott down a little bit.
Yeah, actually, I have, like you said, I have Dak Prescott in my 11 spot right here. And honestly, like you said, it's just really a toss-up. I think he can go higher, and I think he can go lower. I mean, he's since he's been a fantasy starter, he's always been nice. I mean, he's always been a guy that puts up a lot of points. He's got CeeDee Lamb over there. I think they lost their tight end, but didn't they draft one too? Maybe they did. Maybe I can't remember.
Yeah, they lost Schultz, but now they have Ferguson. So
yeah, Ferguson. Okay,
and so Ferguson was looking kind of nice, honestly. He was looking pretty quick. I think he hurdled a guy one week.
Yeah. So. And they got Brandon Cooks now, and they got Michael Gallup. So like, he's got definitely potential. He's got the weapons like he always does, and now he's got Tony Pollard too. And his offensive line is always pretty nice over there in Dallas. So I think he has a good shot of being okay.
I mean, looking at this, Prescott missed 5 games and was QB 18. So I mean,
wow, yeah, it's a quarter of the season, almost a quarter of the season.
Right, and then his first game, he only had 5 points. So you're adding that into bringing down his average for rankings, because a lot of ADPs are going to be ranked based on what the person averaged last year. So that's why I kind of like to look at that and then base my own ranking off of that.
And then, like I said, now he added Brandon Cooks, who's always an 1,000-yard guy. So that's a pretty nice add to go with CeeDee Lamb and Michael Gallup. So I think I got
for sure.
We both at 12 here have Kirk Cousins. It's honestly Kirk Cousins is another guy. Like all these guys I could all see him go back in the top 10. Like, I mean, Kirk Cousins, he was pretty good last year. I mean, he was pretty solid. He's got
6 overall last year. Yeah,
he's got the best wide receiver in football right now. He's got one of the best tight ends in football right now. TJ Hawkinson, he was pretty nice whenever he started to come on. They just drafted your boy Addison, who's awesome. Mm-hmm. So I mean, he's got the weapons too. I mean, he throws a lot, because the Vikings.
Yeah, I was just about to say, with Cousins, I feel like he could sneaky jump back into the top 10 just because the Vikings defense isn't very good. So
Right, so they're throwing all
with
the
their
time.
playoff aspirations, they're going to want to still be trying to win. So he's going to be throwing the ball a lot, I feel like, especially if Dalvin Cook gets traded and maybe Alexander Madison isn't as great as he's been playing, you know? So I think that's another reason Cousins could kind of bump up. The main thing here is that I feel like who we have in these top 10, like these guys are kind of just based on how much these teams throw the ball, like they're kind of locked into this. If you're throwing the ball 500 times a year, like,
Yeah.
you know, you're going to be a top 15 quarterback. So that's kind of why these rankings, we still like to put them out. Yeah, we still like to put them out, but it's like, you know, you should know just based on the ability of these guys, like if they're going to be in the top 10. So after we get through this 15, I got a couple guys on the outside that I wanted to say too, that I just think could jump into the top 15, but I didn't put them in. So,
and like honestly, rankings at this point in time, and what is it, into May, they mean nothing. I mean, anything can happen between now and the season started. And honestly, usually if I'm going to save this, we're going to look back at these at the end of the year. They're all going to be horrible. Like if we get one or two of these top 15 right in the right order, I'll be surprised. I mean, this is just speculative at this point. At the end, I mean, while you're drafting, it changes. Like after you're done drafting and you're playing, you'd be like, dude, I just drafted this guy in the 4th round. I could have taken him in like the 12th. You know what I mean? Like that's where he should have went. So I mean, it's just really about who you feel. We like to do this for fun, but
well, I do want to say too. I think me and you kind of agree that quarterbacks, especially with what we're kind of saying with these top 15s, quarterbacks can win you your league, but they don't really necessarily lose you your league. You know, you can pick up, you know, most teams, if you're not in the Saints league, Derek Carr will probably be on the waiver wire in week 12 or something, and you might pick him up and he'll score you 30 points, you know? So I think quarterbacks, if you're not getting one of the top couple guys, that's why we're doing quarterbacks and tight ends together on this episode, because they're kind of similar to where if you don't get the top 5 guys, then you can really like plug and play each week. You know, that's kind of how I've done defenses too. You know, if you don't have the number one defense, then it's just play the matchup. You know,
right? So. I mean, like you said, I mean, after you go from the top six guys, I think Hurts, Allen, Mahomes, Burrow, Jackson, Fields, and not even Fields. I'm just going to go top 5. After those top 5, it's really like it doesn't really matter. I mean, if as long as you got one of these guys that we're saying, you're probably going to be okay as long as your running backs and receivers are right. Like I'm the big guy that always has agreed that I'm not taking a quarterback until like I've already established my running backs and my receiver starters. You know what I mean? Like I want to have a good list of those receiver guys. Let those guys reach for quarterbacks. Let those guys take Patrick Mahomes in the 2nd round. I'll take one of the top 5 running backs in the 2nd round while he takes a quarterback. And I would rather have Derek Carr and Jonathan Taylor than Patrick Mahomes and ETN. Does that make sense? Like, you know what I mean? Like I'd rather those two guys than those 2 guys. So because like ETN's gonna be fine. I think he is, but I think the gap between Jonathan Taylor's points and ETN's points is gonna be much bigger than the gap between Mahomes and Derek Carr. So
sure.
So yeah. But we'll get back to it. That's a whole other rant. I think to round out my list. I got Geno Smith at 13. I think that's another guy I think can go up because they just got Jigba, they got Metcalf, they got Lockett, they got nothing but receivers over there. So I mean, as long as he just throws it to somebody, he'll be fine. I got Let's Ride at 14, Russell Wilson. I'm really putting him up there because I have faith in Sean Payton as a quarterback guru, as an offensive guy.
That's actually one way I didn't look at it.
Yeah, he's got weapons over there too, dude. I mean, he's got Cortland Sutton, he's got Jerry Jeudy, he's got Tim Patrick coming back, who's always just a guy that catches balls. He's gonna have Javonte Williams when he comes back from the injury, and he's got Samaje Perine, who he's a running back that Sean Payton is gonna love. He's a guy that catches the ball. I mean, that's what Sean Payton loves, is running backs that catch the ball. So I feel like a lot of screens are gonna be going to him. I think Russell Wilson's gonna be fine. I got burned with him too much last year, so I will never draft him again. So you don't have to worry about me picking him, but I still have to put him on my list because I'm not being biased. And then I rounded out with Deshaun Watson. I think Deshaun Watson looked horrible last year. That's why I didn't put him higher in the list. But like you said, he's gonna have a whole off season. He's bonding with his receivers. Elijah Moore is a good talent. He's the guy. I think he came out of was it Ole Miss or was it ULL? I think it was Ole Miss.
Elijah Moore? I don't know.
Yeah. I think he either came out of Ole Miss or he came out of a Louisiana school. I can't remember which one it was. I'm about to look it up. But, the Browns are the Browns are always a team. I want to say he went to. I want to say he went to a Louisiana school, but I'm not 100%. I'm about to look it up.
Can look him up real quick. Let's see.
Ole Miss. So yeah, he went to Ole Miss. All right. So yeah, so he's good. He was the same year as DK Metcalf. So I mean, he's good. They got a Mark. No, they don't got a Mark Cooper. They have Donovan People-Jones. Oh, they do have Mark
They
Cooper.
do have Amari Cooper. Yeah, he's the number one.
And they got Nick Chubb, so he doesn't have to do everything. They're going to run the ball a lot. They're never going to stack the boxes. He's going to be okay. So I think
he's only 27.
Right, so he has time to come back.
It's not like he was a bad quarterback or nothing. Like, he was a great passing quarterback before all the crap. So
right, he was just a bad person instead
exactly.
of a bad quarterback, you know. So we got to be subjective in this show. So we got to, say that he's okay. But all right, your turn. Who's your 11 through 15?
We basically touched on a lot of them. Geno Smith, Kirk Cousins, Aaron Rodgers. I have at 13. He was 13 last year. I just feel like the end of the year, really though, the last 4 or 5 games they were really showing them on TV because like prime time and stuff because they were trying to make the playoffs, and especially that last game against the Lions, there was just a few throws where I was just like, is this guy getting old? Because one of his main things was that rocket arm.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you lose your touch on that arm, that could be serious. Plus, the Jets play outside as well. They play on turf outside too, which is a lot different than playing on real grass outside. So that's something to think about. That's why I got him there. I got Carr at 14, just because I think I like Carr, and I think he was 17 last year. So he's definitely making a move up, I think, because our team's better. But at the end of the day, I really think the Saints like to run the ball a lot. So I'm not seeing him being a 35-point scorer. I mean, it'll be here and there when we're trying to come back, but I don't see him consistently being a top 5 quarterback year long. And then at 15, I got Anthony Richardson, who watchers of this show know that Eric is not too fond of. I gotta admit, I've been kind of buying the hype, just watching stuff and looking at stuff when I think the dude's 19 or something, huh? I think he's 20. And I was actually thinking about this last week. I wanted to be like, Eric, think about who you were when you were 20. We were at LSU, we were staying at the apartment, we weren't serious people. So I think a year or two down the road, and as big as this dude is, as strong as he is, as fast as he is, they haven't released any scores about him, any of those test scores saying he's stupid or anything. So it's I don't know, man. I mean, I feel like they've got Pittman. They got the other guy.
I think they got Paris Campbell.
Pierce,
they got
Pittman, Pierce. No, Paris Campbell plays for the Giants now. Pittman, Pierce.
I think they just drafted a guy too. I think.
They drafted that little speedy guy.
Yeah, Josh Downs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Carolina.
So I mean, I'm just putting him up there because, we've been saying with quarterbacks, the rushing floor makes a difference. You can. Justin Fields did nothing last year throwing the ball, and he was number 7 as a quarterback last year. He did nothing throwing the ball. I mean, he might not even have 2,000 yards throwing. So I think that's important to put him in there. That's the end of my top 15. I want to add in these guys that I have him on the outside looking in. Okay, Murray from the Cardinals. He's going to be hurt starting the year. The Cardinals just don't look good this year, but another guy that has the rushing floor, so that's kind of why I got him on the outside looking in. Daniel Jones was actually the 9th best quarterback last year, according to these rankings, according to Sleeper. So they actually added a couple of weapons for the guy. He got Darren Waller. I still don't think he's really the greatest quarterback, but I mean, if you're adding some weapons for the guy, that was kind of why they played the way they did last year, because they had no weapons other than Barkley. So I could see him. He's on the outside looking in. Goff. Crazy enough, Goff was the 10th best quarterback last year. I'm actually thinking about keeping him in one of our leagues just because I can keep him in the 19th round or something, So it's
he slings that thing.
He's slinging it. I don't think he's the greatest, but
nice receivers too.
Overall. They have a good team too. That's why I drafted Jahmyr Gibbs in that league. I think I drafted Gibbs in the 5th round, and Bajan went in the 1st round. And if we're thinking about it, they're pretty similar talents, I would say. And Gibbs went to a way better team.
Yeah.
So you don't think Robinson and Gibbs are close? I mean, they're drafted close. The Lions sure thought they were close. So
I think Bijan's a workhorse running back. I think
No, I definitely, you're definitely looking at
pass
a
catcher
difference
running back.
between a 3 down and another guy. But for me, I'm just thinking Gibbs went to a team that's actually good. And
Yeah,
when you're
that's fair.
good,
That's fair.
you're winning and you run the ball more, so that's kind of how I was looking at it. And then I had Russell Wilson, and then I had to throw in Tua just because I think Tua can be great, or not great, but he can be a good quarterback in fantasy if he doesn't get hurt. But those concussions, I mean, at any time you can take a hit and your head can hit the turf. And once you get a concussion, I actually had a concussion in high school playing soccer. I headed the ball wrong and got a concussion. And it's kind of like always lingering, I feel like. Like you can get it a lot easier once you have one, and he's already had like 3.
Yeah,
so
I feel bad
that's
for
just
Tua,
kind of
man.
what worries me about Tua.
He's talented. But yeah, so that's our
they're
top
saying he put on
quarterbacks.
weight too. He looks a little thicker, they're saying. So might be able to take a couple more hits. He'll go down like Brady instead of going down like a rag doll,
Yeah, so that was our top 15 quarterbacks with a couple extra. Like we said before, this is just like circumstantial. These will change going forward. So just like these tight ends we're about to say, I think we have a pretty similar list of tight ends. But tight ends are like a dime a dozen. So like we were just looking at it. Cole Kmet was tight end 7 last year, and he had 2. He started the year with 2 zeros and then had like a 5-7-9 game. Like the tight end's position almost is useless besides like those top 3 or 4 guys, maybe.
Kmet was the 7th overall tight end, like we're saying. He had 1 game over 20 points.
Yeah, so like it's just useless.
And he only had 4 games in double digits. So it's like, that's
Kelsey,
how light tight end is.
If you're not getting Kelsey, I mean, even Mark Andrews last year was not that good. I mean, let's say L. Jackson's out a lot, and then Hawkinson was the number 2 tight end. He wasn't that great last year. I mean, he was okay, but I mean, he wasn't putting up double-digit points every week. So the tight end position is kind of a weaker position unless you're playing these premium leagues. But we're gonna go ahead and give you our rankings for those. I got, actually our top 5 is identical besides 2 and 3, so we can just go ahead and say that we both have Travis Kelce 1. I have Travis Kelce. I have Mark Andrews 2. He has Hawkinson 2. And then I have Hawkinson 3, and he has Andrews 3. So those are, that doesn't really matter. And then we both have Kittle 4 and Darren Waller 5. But besides Travis Kelce, all these other guys are unknown. I mean, I like Mark Andrews with L. Jackson this year because, I think, like I said, I think Lamar Jackson's going to try to throw it a lot this year so he can get his stuff going, or show why you earn that money. I think T.J. Hawkins will be good just because Kirk Cousins isn't like the best quarterback in the league, so he's going to dump it off to him a lot. George Kittle is an athletic freak. As long as he stays healthy, he'll be good. And then the same thing with Darren Waller. If they're both healthy, they're going to be good. They're going to produce no matter who the quarterback is.
I'm looking at this right now. Hawkinson got traded.
Yeah.
And once he got traded, I guess none of these scores are really great. But check this out. He had 1 40-point game and 1 35-point game. So I guess that's why I really put him at the top.
After he got traded?
Andrews. Only one of the games was after he got traded. But that was the 35-point game, though. If we look at Andrews
last year, you got to say that L. Jackson's hurt a lot, so he didn't really. And they have Isaiah Likely now too.
Andrews never had a 30-point game, but he had multiple 20-plus, 22-plus point games. So I guess he's more of a solid floor. But I guess that's kind of how we're looking at these things too, you guys. Okay, so am I gonna pick a guy who's gonna consistently? That's kind of me and Eric were actually having this argument about Juwan Johnson. I had him last year. He's the Saints tight end. I had him last year, and I think you actually had Moreau, which is funny because now Moreau are both on the Saints. But
I had him
the tight end,
especially.
Starter, but... Yeah, well, because Waller got hurt, right? So when you have a tight end and they're not in those top 3 guys, you're looking at guys who are getting red zone targets. And other than Freiermuth, Juwan Johnson was getting the most red zone targets. So it's like that's a reason to pick a guy. Because a touchdown in most leagues is 6 points. So if there's a tight end in free agency that can get you 8 points, well, a catch and 20 yards and a touchdown is already 9 points. So it's like you got to kind of think of it like that, guys. All right. Don't just pick the tight end from your favorite team, especially if your favorite team doesn't have a good tight end. Okay.
All right, you give me your 6 through 10. So we kind of, our top 5 are the same.
Okay. 6, I had Ingram. He looked like we've always wanted him to look when he played for the Giants. Trevor Lawrence is a great QB. They got other weapons to kind of take the heat off of him. So I like Ingram. Goddard, for me, Goddard, however you say it. I don't know. For me, it's just like I think like he's blocking so often, but he's one of those guys who's got the skill. He's like 6'7". He's pretty quick. So I mean, for me, it's like we're saying with tight ends, you got to kind of throw these guys in here. My next two are Njoku and Pitts. Njoku, like I said, I like Deshaun Watson this year. Deshaun Watson liked to throw to the tight ends he had back in the day. Like I said, I had him, so I remember him throwing to those tight ends, even though they weren't anything special. Pitts is more of one of those guys. I have on here that he was ranked 33 at tight end last year, which is pretty terrible. But based on the dude's stats, he's like 6'5", runs like a 4.4. They got different pieces on the Falcons offense. Everybody's acting like the Falcons are going to be great this year. I think I've seen like 3 different guys who have said the Falcons are going to win the division.
With Desmond Ritter.
They weren't Falcons people either. I saw one guy said Ritter's going to – he might have just been running like a PFF mock or whatever, but he said he had Ritter getting 5,000 yards. I'm like, dude, you realize like
come on.
You realize like only like 5 or like 7 quarterbacks ever have thrown for 5,000 yards, right? Like I just think that's crazy that people even think that. So, and they're like, oh, and this is with the Falcons throwing 62% of the time, and I'm just like, well, why did they draft?
Yeah, why did they draft Bijan and
throw the ball that much? Like, doesn't make sense. So, he's still a top 10 tight end, I would say though. And then for me, Freiermuth, who I think could maybe move up, but I put Freiermuth on here because I was reading some stats about him today. What's the little quarterback's name on their team?
Kenny Pickett.
It was his favorite target, they said. And also on this, I have Freiermuth was the second most targeted tight end per game, like in targets per game. If he just catches those targets, and with maybe Kenny Pickett's going to get a little better, take off the gloves and sling it.
Right.
So that's what I got.
I got Goddard at 6. You got me saying Goddard. Goddard at 6. I think Jalen Hurts likes him a lot, but he's pretty hit or miss. You know what I mean? Like I think he either has like just a ridiculous game, or he's going to catch like 3 balls for 40 yards. Which, like you said, that's 7 points. That's not bad for your tight end spot. So that's why I like him up there. I got Evan Engram at 7 because he, like you said, Trevor Lawrence is balling out. Evan Engram was finally stayed healthy and was able to play when he didn't have Daniel Jones lingering him down.
Dude, when he would catch the ball last year, I would think it was a really thick wide receiver. And then I'm wait, that's Engram.
They are getting really back, but I think if Lawrence is going to throw the ball that much, then go for it. The running back is a receiving running back, so you might as well. I got Kyle Pitts at 8 just because he's an athletic freak. Kyle Pitts is like the prototype like star tight end. He makes some good catches. If this dude Desmond Ritter is going to actually throw the ball, why wouldn't it be to him? Because London's going to see that number 1 cornerback. They're going to be focusing a lot on Bijan. So Kyle Pitts, in theory, should be open. And just last year he just couldn't figure it out. I have Kincaid at 9. Might be a little like another homer pick, because y'all know I drafted him in my dynasty league. But dude, they're calling him Baby Kelsey. They're saying he's the next Travis Kelsey coming. It might not be this year. Hopefully it is. He's riling up in the slot. He's got a team that throws the ball 40 times a game. He's going to have the chances to be good. Dawson Knox is there, but I think if they drafted this tight end in the first round, they're going to use him.
They traded up to get him too, right?
Right.
So I like to always pay attention to that.
Right. So he's already out there working. So let's hope that he's going to be good. And then I got Njoku at 10. Same reasons as you. Deshaun Watson's going to need somebody to throw it to. He likes his tight ends. I think Njoku got drafted in the first round too. I'm pretty sure. So I think Njoku is a physical beast. So I think he was already pretty good last year, and now he's just going to keep going up. So hopefully from there, it's only up. So I like that. I'll just go ahead and start my 11th too this time, since you went first last time. I got Cole Kmet at 11. I think he could be better if Justin Fields threw the ball more. Cole Kmet was like you said, the 7. At this point, it's just who's going to score 140 points compared to 138. So it doesn't really matter at this point. But I like these guys. I got Foster Moreau at 12. I think that's where we're going to argue. I got him. I think I got him being the starter for the Saints. I think he's a better tight end overall than Juwan Johnson. But Taysom Hill will still play too. So I think that probably is an irrelevant pick. I got Dalton Schultz at 13, only because he's good. Don't get me wrong. I think he could be higher too. It's just because of CJ Stroud. I don't really know what kind of NFL quarterback he's going to be. Who does?
Oh,
He's a rookie. So,
when I forgot, I was telling you earlier, I forgot Kittle, and I had to delete somebody. So I guess I had Pitts at 4, and I had Schultz at 9. So I just deleted Schultz, put Pitts at 9, and then put Kittle at 4. So I did forget to have Schultz in here. I had Schultz at 9. I just like the guy, so I'm with you on that. Like,
he's good. I mean, he's
rookie QBs usually like to throw to tight ends too. So
he could definitely be good. I could see him going up into the top 10.
Yeah,
I got Pat Freiermuth, who also like you said, he's good. He's a favorite of Kenny Pickett, so I think he will go up a little higher too. And then I'm gonna round it out with Greg Dulcich, whatever you want to call him. Only because I know how, like I said, same reason I put Russell Wilson in the top 14. I think having a good quarterback is vital, and I think Sean Payton likes his tight ends. His offense runs around running backs and tight ends. That's why the Saints never really drafted receivers. That's why when he left, we were screwed because all we had was a hurt Michael Thomas, and that's it. So that's why I think Greg Dulcich or whoever's going to be I can change that to Broncos tight end. That's what whoever that guy's going to be, if it's going to be him or Albert O, it's going to be one of those two, and I think one of them is going to be nice. You know what I mean?
I like that. And if you remember, and this is how I know you're right about this, and I didn't think about this, but remember we traded for Jeremy Shockey?
Yeah, and Jeremy Shockey.
We didn't know each other back then, but shout out to our boy Connor. Connor actually bought a Jeremy Shockey jersey. Like, my mom was buying the Chinese jerseys, she did a whole big order. And Connor was like, I want a Jeremy Shockey one. So he has a Jeremy Shockey jersey somewhere laying around the house. And remember, Jeremy Shockey was a beast back then. So we were like,
Shockey was one of the main reasons we won that Super Bowl. I mean, he was our guy. And then, Jimmy Graham, and then they tried to put in Colby Fleener. He did okay. He wasn't great. And then, Sean Payton, he traded 17 picks for Troutman. So, he likes his tight end. So I think that's going to be all right. So you are up.
All right. So, I also had Kmet at 11. We talked about him. I had Kincaid at 12. So we're both having him in the top 15, which is cool. Because like you said, not only the baby Kelsey, but I think kind of Buffalo, Mahomes has been winning, right? So everyone's looking at how do we replace what Mahomes is doing, right? And I'm not saying Mahomes wouldn't be great without Kelsey, but Kelsey is definitely a huge part of what makes them great. When no one can get open, they still had Kelsey last year, and they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, he's always open.
Yeah, so I like Kincaid in there. And now I got a little sleeper pick in here. The 43rd overall rated tight end last year. He wasn't even a starter. Irv Smith, okay? He went to the Bengals, and the Bengals had C.J. Uzomah last year. And I think even you were using him in fantasy.
Hayden Hurst last year.
Oh,
C.J.
Uzomah was there. Oh, yeah, it was the year before. But he might have been there, too, and then got hurt or something. But you're right. Hayden Hurst, who I don't have his ranking, but he was decent. I remember you were using him. So Burrow likes to throw to the tight end. Jamar Chase and T. Higgins get locked up sometimes. It's just how the game goes. So you got to throw to your tight end on 3rd and 7. And if you rack up a couple 8-yard catches here and there. And I was about to say, Irv Smith was drafted high. He was highly touted. But the problem is he went to, I think the Vikings or something, and they already had a guy ahead of him. And so he never really got a lot of playing time. Then I think he tore his Achilles or something, So injuries and stuff have kind of held this dude back. And I think Joe Burrow's going to unlock him. So I really think Irv Smith in the top 15. That's my sleeper pick. He was looking good. Another rookie I have in the top 15 is Laporta. Another thing, we were talking about Goff. He was a top 10 quarterback last year. They're missing Jameson Williams. So, just in the first 6 weeks even, maybe you pick him, he does really well, and you think he's going to slide off, and you can trade him for something. Guys are always looking for a solid tight end. And rounding out my 15, I got Conklin, who it was actually in free agency in one of our leagues, and I just snapped him right up because guess what? He's the starting tight end for the New York Jets, who have Aaron Rodgers. So it's whether you think Aaron Rodgers is old or not, he's never had a really solid tight end. People might say, Jermichael Finley or something, but he's never had. And I think Conklin is a guy who, when you see him running around, you're like, how is this dude not a top 10 tight end? So it's maybe because he has Zach Wilson throwing him the ball. You never know. So I like Conklin there. And are we running long or what? Because I got an outside looking in too.
Go ahead. Give a couple of those.
All right. Well, I got 3 in the first one, which is just Hill, Johnson, and Moreau, the Saints tight end backfield. We don't know what's going to happen. Do you even have the ability to start Taysom Hill at tight end in your league? We don't know. Some leagues allow it, some leagues don't. Like we said, Juwan Johnson was 15 last year, just with his touchdown floor. Hill was 9, but he played quarterback here and there, and he rushed the ball a lot. Moreau was 30, but he was playing backup for a lot of the year until Waller got hurt. Ferguson is the Dallas tight end. Schultz was really good. Ferguson stepping up. They don't have like a ton of weapons over there when it comes to passing the ball, so I'm thinking Ferguson could be decent. I got Knox, who could be the starter the whole year. If maybe Kincaid comes out and he sucks at blocking and he can't learn the playbook. Who knows? It could happen. So then you got Knox. I got Meyer, who's the other rookie for the Raiders. Everybody likes this guy. He's kind of like your Jason Witten type. And then to round out that outside looking in, I got Everett, who is still the starter for the Chargers. And one of the things I like to think about with tight ends is who's your quarterback. So if you have a great quarterback, then your tight end's basic. That's why I like Irv Smith, because you got Burrow, right? Well, Everett is the tight end for Justin Herbert, who everybody is like crowning as like the next god on earth, So it's like, I like the guy too. I'm not saying I don't like him, but that's kind of where I'm at with him. So I have Everett in there, who Everett was also the 13th tight end last year. So he was already in my top 15 as it is. And they didn't draft anybody to replace him. So it's like, he's a starter another year in the that chemistry really matters, I think. So another year of chemistry with Herbert. Their team's getting a little better. And that's it. Outside looking in. There you go.
All right. Well, I like it. All right. Well, that's our quarterbacks and that's our tight ends. We're gonna come back next week, I think, with either running back, receiver, or maybe just running backs. I think we could talk a lot more about running backs and receivers. So maybe we'll split those up into 2, and then we'll show you all about this mock draft that we're doing with our colleagues with the fantasy 6-pack. I'm sure it'll be over by then. It's a slow draft. It's been
You're hoping.
Yeah, it's like the 3rd day. We're only like the 6th round, so I don't know what people are doing, but so like I said, subscribe to the Fantasy 6-pack YouTube channel. You get all the mocks. You get all the, you can talk to us directly on our Discord. You get rankings. You get all that good stuff. Fantasy6pack.net. I think I didn't pull it up this time.
Fantasy6pack.net/plans.
Yeah, that's plans to sign up today. This was a good episode, man. I like what we're doing here. I think that we're gonna keep getting better as our episodes come along. I'm gonna give one shout out to the LSU Tigers for winning today. SEC
baseball
championship game. Yeah, they won the SEC. They won their first SEC championship game today.
Nice.
So look, that's good. But other than that, what you got, bro?
Man, I just think comment down below if you're doing an early draft. Some people really do draft this early. I don't know why, but it happens. If you need help with a draft, or if you're in a slow draft, maybe you're in a slow draft like us, and you're on the clock. You got time to, if you respond to this video on a comment, I'm usually looking at the video most of the first few days that it's out, just checking how it's doing, and even watching it myself to try for us to give us notes and stuff. So I'll see your comment and I'll respond. Take Kincaid over Kmet type of thoughts, like if you got 2 guys, we're on the guys on the clock right now. He has no running back, and Kamara's on the board. It's just a mock draft, but I'm like, dude, take Kamara. Like, you have no running backs. It's the 7th round. Kamara is like, when he plays, he's like a 1st or 2nd round running back, right? I just feel like it's falling in this dude's lap, and he's taking 3 hours to make the pick. So make the pick, bro. That's what I got to say. One love. Going to see Fast and Furious after this. The 9th one was terrible. Hopefully the 10th one's better, so.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was fun. Like I said, we're going to tap on out of here. See you guys later.
Who dat?